Move on now. And I want your calls on this. Whether we should stop saying boys and girls when we're talking to children. 0207 862 2222 is the number. Give us a ring. Scotland's care watchdog has said the phrase should be avoided because it's not inclusive to transgender children. They say instead, childcare workers should use gender-inclusive language such as everybody, as in come on everybody, rather than come on boys and girls. The guidance also gives advice on not being dismissive towards a child's feelings or denying their identity as just a phase. This is a conversation happening right across the country right now, from parents all the way up to the lawyers and judges at the Supreme Court, because in the last couple of hours, it has ruled on the legal definition of a woman, and it's concluded it should be based on a person's biological sex, otherwise meaning their sex when they were born. That's not always the way in which people want to be referred as they grow older. It seems to me, Charlie, you know, a child, when they're on their journey to understanding their identity and who they are, that's a crucial moment not to exclude them, not to make them feel other or isolated, because it can have all sorts of damaging effects in the long term if you do.
I absolutely agree with that. But what I think the problem we have at the minute is the lack of understanding of child development anyway in the country. You've seen that through perhaps adolescents and parents and teachers and adults in the room not understanding what is happening at a young level, young people, and what access they've got to in terms of online and just social changes. But I agree with you because when it comes to children in care in particular, you have to have the strongest foundations growing up. And I think you can absolutely let children be children. You know, as a young boy, I'm pretty sure, I put on, and I'm not, making light of it, but as a kid, I'm pretty sure I put on my mum's dresses and paraded in high heels every now and again. That didn't mean I had gender dysphoria. That didn't mean I was trans. That was just me larking around with my older sister and her friends. Let kids be kids, let them have fun, let them do what they want, let them be as creative as they possibly can. But to grow up in a society, and I think to be able to live your best life and know who you are and make those choices, if you are genuinely trans or if you have got gender dysphoria, you know that and you can be that successfully with the strong foundations that you have as a child. And knowing that you're a boy or a girl is paramount to that, because then when you do grow up after a number of years feeling different, you can then make that positive change. Okay. If you do it at a younger age group, then it causes confusion and it causes even more problems for those kids in care.
I want to hear what you've got to say. We have to take a break first. So we're going to do it as soon as we come back, because I know it's going to be brilliant. Worry. Didn't get to talk to you, Narinder. Charlie was saying there, effectively, that's exactly the time when children need clarity. And boys and girls gives them that clarity, and they can start that journey discovering who they are within that kind of structured framework.
I know, but I think that also just saying everybody, what's wrong with that? Because I think what's more important for our children, for all children, is to have a safe space. And I think it's not about, it's this languages, divisive languages. Oh, we're hurting their feelings and we're hurting them. But actually, why not just have a safe space? It's like me coming on this show and you saying, well, we've got an all-white panel, but we've got a brown person. Why say that? Just say everybody is here on the show today. So you make children feel safe. You don't make them feel included or excluded. You just make them feel safe. I think that's what's important here. And with the statistics that we've been given, non-binary is growing. More and more children are non-binary. They don't feel boy or girl, so why say it? OK, we're going to take calls because they're coming already. Philomena's in Blackpool. Philomena, what do you think? Do you think it's time to stop using those terms, boys and girls? Because, quite frankly, they're covering fewer and fewer kids now.
No. I think it's absolutely fine to continue with boys and girls. And I'm sort of in a little bit of a grey area still on understanding what the various sexes want to be. But if I were a teacher and I had a class full of boys and girls, and there were boys there that wanted to be girls or identified as girls, then calling it boys and girls, you'd still be reaching some of those that wanted to be identified as a girl or a girl wanting to be identified as a boy. Okay. The binary is a little bit more difficult, but I would suspect if it was a junior school or even a senior school, they hadn't probably decided which one they wanted to be, boy or girl or nothing. But to say good morning everybody is particularly impersonal. So I think the teacher saying good morning, boys and girls, is still covering every eventuality, if that's the right word.
Is it though? Because in the middle we have people who describe themselves, identify as non-binary as well, and it's excluding them. To say boys or girls, there you have somebody that maybe is confused, doesn't understand, and maybe never will identify as either. So everybody's one of these beautiful words that is, by definition, all-inclusive.
Again, it's up for argument, that, isn't it? I worked inside and alongside the NHS for a very long time, and it caused more offence by, when I was checking patients in, there were about 30 ways of which they wanted to be identified, notwithstanding all the religions. And it actually caused more offence when you try to be inclusive rather than stick to what was, in brackets, the norm. Okay. So, I think we're still okay with the boys and girls in a girls' school, in a mixed school rather. If it was just a girls' school and you said girls and boys, then that, again, would be complicated. But I think we're complicating things far more than we need to. I really, really do. And I think
Thank you, Wilhelmina. Thanks for that perspective.
Thank you.
I do appreciate it.
Okay.
Jamie's in Hertfordshire. Jamie, what do you think? Is it time to abandon boys and girls? And I appreciate that actually there's. Have we still got Jamie? I think Jamie might have left the classroom. Interesting what Philomena's saying there, that you can offend even with a term like everybody. Do you think that's the case? Some people want to be identified as boy or girl and don't like the idea of a cover-all term.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I mean, look, walking into a classroom and saying, morning, everyone. I mean, I've said it in the office, morning, everyone. I've not said hello, individual names, and I've not said hello, policymakers and press office. I've not, I've said, you can use it in general terms. And so I do think there's a problem with there. But I think the way in which some people or organisations are going out of their way to say to staff, we must now drop the identity of boys and girls and try and be, I think that's where the issue lies.
I think the key is not to make assumptions, isn't it, about any of these things and understand. Thank you so much, guys, and thanks for all your calls on this.